It's Spooktober, and that means spooky videos. To start us off, we'll be revisiting glitches in Majora's Mask. In this one, we'll be covering glitches left out of the first video, which just covered the N64 version, as well as the host of glitches from the 3DS version. To start us off, we'll need to make our way to the Astral Observatory. If you'd rather not learn the code or Goron jump over the fence, you can just backflip past the guard. Yeah, it's not too crazy, but people kept bringing it up, so there you go. You know what also was highly requested? The magical, the mythical, the spooktacular 4th day glitch. If you don't know what that is, no worries. Just camp out while looking through the telescope until the moon is about to crash. To initiate the 4th day glitch, you need to avoid dying. It sounds difficult at first, but it can actually be done by interrupting the cutscene depicting the destruction of Termina by backing out of the telescope at the same moment as the game fades out at 000. This can be very difficult to pull off, but you'll know it worked if the moon doesn't come crashing down and instead, you find that the clock has disappeared. You are now in the 4th day. When you venture outside, you'll find that the moon has seemingly disappeared, but it's actually still up there, just very, very small. You won't be able to use any items, so to fix that, speak to the Scarecrow and dance the night away to the next morning, which would technically be the 5th day, but there's no clock to confirm that, so we're just going to ignore those implications. At this point, you're free to explore Termina free from the moon's oppressive presence. But ultimately, it's pointless as you can no longer actually complete the game in this cycle. To fix things, just pull out the Ocarina and use the Song of Time to go back to the beginning. On topic of the Ocarina of Time, let's look at a glitch that involves the Ocarina of Time. For this one, you'll have to go to the Honey and Darling minigame. You'll want to start playing and wait until the timer is about to run out. Hang from the edge of the platform as the minigame ends, and you should find that your B button is now blank. Play the minigame again, but this time hop off the platform, and you should now have the Ocarina of Time permanently stuck to your B button. Yeah, this could suck as you can no longer use a sword and your only slashing option is now the Great Fairy Sword, but this does actually allow you to play songs in places that you normally shouldn't, like for example the Twin Mold fight. You could put on the Giant's mask and become a giant, and then do the Elegy of Emptiness to create a giant statue of yourself, but not really. If you don't already know, the Twin Mold fight actually has 2 arenas. When you're putting on the mask, you're just swapping arenas. Link's size doesn't actually change, just the camera and everything else around him. And if for whatever reason you'd rather use this glitch to soft lock the game, you can. Just head into the Swordsman's School and start one of the courses. Pull out the Ocarina and wait. The whole time he'll keep whistling, but nothing will actually happen. Eventually, he'll tell you to try harder, so respawn by playing a song and now you'll be stuck. Awesome. If you'd like to fix the Ocarina of Time on B glitch, either have your sword stolen by the bird and then rebuy it, or just hop onto Epona and then get back off. For our next glitch, we'll need to head to Sakon's hideout in Icona Canyon. This is one of the final locations in the Anju and Cafe side quest. Normally you'd meet Cafe here on the evening of the 3rd day, and enter it after Sakon opens up. Instead, you could actually just roll through the small opening between the rock door and the wall. If you wear the bunny hood, it's much easier. Either way, make sure you hold left on the analog stick after you get through, so that you actually hit the loading zone instead of falling into the void. Now, that's not actually the glitch I like to show off, but it is useful because it allows us to enter the Sakon's hideout at any point in the 3-day cycle. For a bit of fun, once you're inside, step on the switch as Goron Link and try rolling past the door before it closes. The timing isn't too rough, but if you do it right, you'll now be in Cafe's first room. Activate the switch, then return to the first room, and then kill the Deku Baba in the first Link room. That actually allows you to enter Cafe's second room. Something fun will happen if we wait until the 3rd day here, but before that, pull the block from the first room into the doorway and press the second room's blue switch. Congrats, you've now gotten a block stuck in the door. Whatever. The real fun happens when it finally transitions from the 2nd night to the 3rd day. When that happens, you'll immediately get the Cafe cutscene where he runs in and realizes that the mask is in danger of being lost. The best part here is that when he runs forward, Link will actually teleport to stand right behind him for some reason. This will actually happen with any mask transformation. So of course I made sure to record those. Not sure which is the creepiest, I'll leave that up to you to decide.
Stay out of my personal space.
Speaking of, we could really use some mood lighting, you know? Gotta spook up the video. Well, Zora Link is great for that. Hop into any body of water and just crouch or shield to activate the Zora's aura. The aura of the Zora, which deals damage and drains magic. It also makes everything else really dark. While the aura is active, take off the mask and you'll find that the darkened world remains. Now, this is actually just a visual bug, and it will actually go away if you remask and use a Zora shield attack again. You could also alter the darkness by using a spin attack, sword beam, or the Song of Storms. Since those actually slightly darken the world, you're left with this green tinted result. Not much, but I do think it's neat. Now onto the Great Bay, we'll need to alter the flow time to just before we met Macau, and by that I mean we need to make a new save file. Find the fishman and brace him in the water, but instead of recreating a scene out of the shape of water, push him towards the shore. Get him real close to the sand without actually letting him stand up. Turn into Goron Link and pick him up. Oh, whoops, now you're soft locked. Macau will continue to moonwalk on top of Goron Link until the end of time. And by the way, you could actually also pick up Macau as normal Link, however something about the game's physics messes up while you're holding Macau on a slope. Either way, once you're clear of the water, you can take him on a nice walk. Maybe place him down so he can disappear from this plane of existence, and when you're done, go ahead and feed him to a lake. It's what he would have wanted. Now, we didn't just sacrifice adoring Zora to a weird slime monster, it was actually a cocoon, and Zora Link emerges as a beautiful butterfly ready to take flight. For his first voyage, we need to swim over to the Zora Hall and position ourselves right against this side of the rock. Once that's done, move into the first person view and line it up like so. Now just press A to swim into the slope, and if you were in the right spot, Link will start swimming or flying above the water. Repeatedly press A to remain in the air, and as long as you don't bonk into anything or try to leave the area, Zora Link will continue to fly free. For our next glitch, we need an animal, one of which can be found in Clocktown. Z or L target and hold your shield. When the doggo gets close enough, press A and Link should put away his sword and be stuck in place shielding. Wait a while, and as soon as you let go of the shield button, the dog will appear in your hands. Next up, do that glitch again, but this time, let the little pupper fall into the water before releasing R and picking it up. The game doesn't like that. Now you'll see that Link is always sliding ever so slightly, and if you let go of the dog, it'll just float. Huh, I guess they were wrong. An old dog can learn new tricks if that new trick happens to be floating and teleportation. Anyway, sticking around in Clocktown, we have a few more minor glitches. Like, for example, head into the lottery shop and try backflipping over the desk. Agree to buy a ticket and the booth will rotate around like normal, but this time it leaves Link inside of it. From inside we get a nice view, and when you're ready, just walk out. Outside, pull out the Picto Box. We'll be using this like crazy once we move on to the 3DS version, but for now, did you know that you could actually take a picture of Link if you press A quick enough after pulling at the camera? I don't think that's how cameras work, but what do I know. Another goofy little thing can be done in one of the rooms of the Pirate Fortress, where you battle a Gerudo warrior. Before moving far enough to activate the fight, pull out the hook shot and hook onto a nearby lamppost. Link will go flying before being stopped in the air by the cutscene. I don't know about you, but I think this looks great. Now, do you recall the infinite sword glitch? We've discussed it a number of times in my previous Zelda videos, but as a refresher, the infinite sword glitch, or ISG, is where you interrupt a slash or stab of the Link's sword with some kind of dialogue box or cutscene. That makes it so that the sword's attack is always active. This makes Link not be able to fall off ledges, which is surprisingly helpful. Now, something dumb that you can do with ISG is putting on the Bremen mask and pressing B. He'll start playing the song and marching around, but the sword's damage is still active. March towards your enemies while repeatedly spamming the B button for one of the dumbest and possibly most effective battle techniques. Moving on, let's also go over Bombchu hovering, something I skirted around actually showing in my Ocarina of Time videos. Bombchu hovering requires, you guessed it, Bombchus, which, if used in conjunction with backflips or side hops and the ISG, allow for Link to hover. With ISG active, backflip and take out a Bombchu and shield. This should cause Link to stop mid-air, but if you're too close to the ground after the first flip, you'll actually fall back down pretty quickly. In this situation, or any other where you're starting on mostly flat ground, perform the second flip, Bombchu, and shield immediately after the first, because you gotta do it pretty fast. From there, repeat the process of flipping, bombing, and shielding to gain height and distance. Eventually you'll get close enough to side hop out of the hover onto the ledge. From here, go ahead and slash to deactivate ISG, but be careful to not do it near that giant boulder, as that will not go well. Just roll past the boulder and hold right on the analog stick to land behind it, letting you freely walk into the ranch. There's another bomb glitch called bomb boosting, aka bomb jumping. It's a handy technique in most speedrunners' toolbox. That's where you drop a bomb near a ledge and use the explosion's damage to boost Link across gaps you could otherwise not cross normally. That can be used to access both sides of the graveyard without having to wait until the right night. It's at this point that we'll transition into the 3DS version of Majora's Mask. Here we can see a few more examples of bomb boosting, all done by Gymnast86. If you don't know, Gymnast86 is a Legend of Zelda speedrunner, who gave me the go-ahead to use some of his footage to show off some of the coming glitches. By the way, you should totally check out his Twitch channel where he speedruns 3D Zelda games, because speedrunners do not get enough appreciation for what they do. Link is in the description. Moving on, we have hookshot clipping, which is a neat technique that, for example, you could use to access the music box house without having to mess around with the Song of Storms. The glitch can be done by moving a hook-shottable object up against a wall, like a Gibdo, and side-hopping into the object and releasing the hookshot as you land. If done correctly, as you can see here, it clips you right through. In a previous Any Percent route, this was used to access the Woodfall Temple's boss key without actually having to fight the mini-boss. Continuing on with the going where you shouldn't be able to sort of theme, in either version of the game, if you side-hop like so in this area of Clocktown as the Zora Link, you could actually grab onto and pull yourself up onto the wall, allowing you to ledge walk all the way around to access Cafe's house early. Heck, even Deku Link can perform some sick hops, like for example, a Gainer. That's where you target next to a wall, backflip while letting go of target, and then just a frame later, retargeting. This works great at this ledge in Clocktown, skipping the need for the Bomber's Code, Moon Tier, or Deku Scrub's Tattle Deed. The jumping glitches do not end there. In this game, you can perform something called a mask jump, which involves performing a jump slash with a little extra oomph. With any form that can perform a jumping attack, if you press the home button mid-air, and then press it again, and during the unpause hold the B button and mask button on the touchscreen, the Zora, for example, will pull out his fins to perform the jumping slash, but it's actually interrupted by the unmask command. That way you get the extra height while remaining in a free-falling state. This can be chained repeatedly for a near infinite height, but as you'll see later on, there are some more handy glitches for gaining height. Now, if you do not recall, we had previously looked at a way to access the Goron village early by getting ISG using a bomb, and then backflipping and shielding through and over the ice that blocks the path, but in the 3DS version, you could actually just side hop onto the ledge and walk around the ice, which sure is nice, I guess. If you're trying to get to Iconic Canyon early, one way is to roll up the path at nighttime as Goron, and use the Goron Slam, open mid-air, and get knocked over each of the fences by an angry Skullboy. Here we could do something called a triple slash clip, where you guessed it, slash 3 times to clip through things. In this game, much like Ocarina of Time 3D, when Link slashes 3 times in a row and puts away his sword at the end, he moves backwards farther than he should. That could be used to clip through walls with an acute angle. Here, once that's done, you could redon the Goron's mask, ground pound to get on top of the boulder, and then jump again while holding L to target, and actually check the owl statue from afar. That lets you save the game, and reloading spawns you up there reaching Iconic Canyon early. So that makes 2 of the 4 major areas early. For Great Bay early, we could actually use a 3DS exclusive glitch called Flower Sliding. For this you'll need to have Deku Link, a flower, and some kind of damage source. Hold R to shield over the flower, and on the same frame that you get hit, press and hold the A button. If done properly, the damage should cause Link to be pushed away since he was shielding, but holding the A button allows him to burrow into the ground. The result of this is a little Deku mouse sliding across the land. While doing this, you'll keep sliding until you let go of A, where Link will pop up. Until then, he'll actually slide right through any solid object. If done properly, this can be used to slide right past the wall blocking the entrance to the Great Bay. Honestly though, messing around with this can be really fun, and all you risk is falling into the void and respawning nearby. Now, it's at this point I'd like to talk about one of the weirdest glitches that Zelda games just love to have, which is wrong warping. In this game specifically, wrong warping involves witnessing the day transition after a certain number of prerequisites have been met. Admittedly, I don't fully understand what's going on here, so for a full tutorial, please check out Gymnast86's wrong warping tutorial that I've linked in the description. Now, for a general explanation, one initiates a wrong warp by collecting hot spring water in a bottle that has been duped over a Gibdo mask at a specific time after the game has been turned on. When you do this, time goes crazy, and after wrangling time with the inverted Song of Time, where you're located when the day transitions will determine your destination. For example, if you're in the Mountain Spring, you'll actually end up in the Georg fight. If one were to clip into the milk bar, which skips the needs for the Romani mask, and wait here, you'd be wrong warped straight to the Stone Tower Temple. Alternatively, you could hang out on the road to Icona, which would land you right in the fight against Goat. It's at this point that you could use the action swap glitch to fire an arrow using a stick. Basically, by pulling out the bow and equipping a stick but interrupting it with Tattle's text, next time you aim with Link, he'll both hold the stick and the bow, and an arrow shot will actually have the fire effect, which is neat. Onwards and upwards, we have a glitch called Mask Storage. That's a technique that allows you to perform a few other things, but first, the basics. In this game, you can delay a mask's transformation indefinitely. A great way to do this is by holding L target and backflip and using the mask, but then pressing and holding R before landing. While visually nothing seems to be out of the ordinary, as soon as you let go of the R button or backflip, the transformation will occur. If you want to do this then back out of it, the transformation can be cancelled at any point if you remove the mask from the item buttons. If you want to do another backflip without the transformation occurring, which we'll have to do later on, you must let go and re-hold the R button while mid-air. This technique can be used for a multitude of things, such as Weird B. That's where you perform mask storage and then walk up to and mount Epona while still moving. The transformation will then happen while atop your horsey, which is not supposed to happen. And then once you dismount, you'll find that Link's B has been replaced with the Deku Nuts. Meanwhile, Deku Link now has the sword on his B. This can be fixed by redoing the glitch using the Zora mask. It's also worth noting that upon transforming atop Epona, Link will remain stuck in place, seemingly controlling Epona by herself. If you press A to make her go faster, Link will be correctly repositioned onto Epona, no matter what form. That allows you to ride Epona as any form, a glitch we had covered in the N64 version, though that used a different method entirely. If you'd rather not have Link clipping halfway onto Epona, going through a loading zone will adjust Link's positioning to a more reasonable place. Moving on, we have another glitch utilizing mask storage, which requires you to grab onto a ledge after using and storing the mask. That'll actually pop Link right up, signaling that you did it right. This is the down A glitch, as your A button will continue to say down even though it shouldn't. For some reason, this causes Link to be able to walk up certain slippery seams, as you couldn't normally, and, well, you could just walk right through certain objects, like the boulder blocking the way to the Goron race. Leaving the area or just hopping off of a ledge will fix Link right up. Now, normally, Link can only speed up and reverse time using his ocarina, but it's only thanks to mask storage that he could actually stop time. The primary method of pulling this off requires Link to have a bottle with something in it in hand. Fish, water, bugs, whatever is convenient for you. After capturing the item so that the bottle is in Link's hand, hold L, perform mask storage, and then backflip again, but this time, let go and repress R, and then press the bottled item just before landing. If done correctly, time has stopped. Make sure you unequip the mask so that you can move around freely without activating the transformation. While time is stopped, cutscene triggers will not activate, which can be pretty handy. The time stop glitch can also be done in front of a gossip stone, which creates song storage. The ocarina playing window will open up, allowing you to play some songs while on the move. The song Double Time, for example, can be stored by moving through a loading zone, and activated by opening the inventory and clicking an item, or otherwise just opening some kind of dialog box. And now, for our final glitch, it's time for some restricted items. A glitch returning from Ocarina of Time 3D, a game that I've now referenced multiple times but never actually covered, maybe in the future. Remember how I said the Picto Box was important? Well, here's how. Open up the Picto Box, swap an item that you can use with an item you can't use, and after backing out of the inventory you should see that the item that you cannot use, aka the restricted item, is currently highlighted. That means it's usable, even though it shouldn't be. Back out of the Picto Box and use the item immediately. One way to do this reliably is to snap a picture, hit A to save it, and then immediately after press the button for the restricted item. As an example, this allows Zora Link to toss bombs. There's a bunch of ways you could use this neat glitch, so go wild. Now, what you might be interested in is that you could actually use the Giant's Mask. Though doing this outside of the Twin Mold fight will actually cause you to become stuck in place. It does look neat though. There is one other mask that you might be curious about, and yes, it can also be used. That being the Fierce Deity Mask, the one thing that was put on the thumbnail and you've likely been waiting for all this time. Picto Box, swap those items, snap that pic, save it, and put on the most powerful mask in the game, absolutely anywhere. This is fantastic, but it's not all leisure and fun. What do you think this game is? A game? It is, but you can't actually exit Clocktown since the guards will continue to consider you a child. Condescending much? Anyways, going through doors can also be dangerous, as is talking to certain shopkeepers. And for whatever reason, the one person able to stop Fierce Deity Link in his tracks is none other than the bomber's leader. He'll just keep talking to you forever until you finally decide to turn off the game. Oh, you thought we were done? Nuh-uh, trick or treat, and you are in for a treat because the Goron missile glitch is fantastic. And it requires restricted items, which is why it's here at the end. Perform the restricted items glitch using the hookshot, but after pressing A to save the picture and X for the hookshot, be sure to press A again quickly to curl into a ball. You'll know it worked if you see a small floating hookshot off to Link's right. At this point, hold the analog stick forward and perform the magical ground pound to go rocketing off into the distance. For a sense of scale, walking as Link is about 5.5. The bunny hood is about 8.25. The Goron rule can get all the way up to 18. Meanwhile, the Goron missile can easily surpass 1,000. If you're going for horizontal distance, perform the missile launch with some kind of ledge ahead of you, otherwise you're not going to really go anywhere. And for more vertical launch, do it towards a slope. Just be careful, because if you get too much speed like I did, you could actually find yourself falling for way longer than I want to sit here and watch. Now, I'd like to leave you with a small montage of Goron missiles performed in one of Gymnast86's most recent any percent PBs, because this glitch is incredible. Enjoy! Oh, look at that! You made it to the very end! Congratulations! If you're interested and didn't already know, I have a merch store at Designed by Humans, link on screen, where you can get yourself some shirts and stuff. Also, if you just like to support the channel, we're almost to 100,000 subscribers, so all subscriptions are greatly appreciated. Either way, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next spooky video.